A bigger and better border wall is one of Trump's major promises, but will it help solve the immigration crisis? I'm Oscar Margain. Along the border, the people that live between this fence and the border are sounding off tonight. Walking these border ranch lands can be deadly. According to the South Texas Human Rights Center, 41 human remains have been found this year alone in just this section of the border, 61 in all of 2016. Facebook videos like this one, or any post on the internet for that matter, can be used against you. Cameron County health officials have zeroed in on this community in Brownsville. They've designated this mile-long perimeter as ground zero, where they believe the virus could still be present. The city of South Padre Island is expecting about 4 times the amount of people we see now. Currently, there's about 2,500 spring breakers. Next week, they hope to see about 10,000 make it to the island. So this is how it works. As a spring breaker, I get served all the pancakes I want from 8 to noon. And I get a ride anywhere I want up and down the beach. Then from midnight to 3 a.m. I get picked up, fed again, and then taken to my hotel. Once I'm done partying, of course. Spring break may be over for many folks across the country, but that doesn't mean that tourism here is slowing down. With Easter week in full swing, South Padre Island expects about 13,000 vehicles a day, many of which are coming from Mexico. All it takes is a simple swipe, and without suspecting it, thieves could be remotely stealing your credit card information using a mobile device such as this iPod to connect wirelessly to what they call a skimmer installed in gas pumps. The effects can be catastrophic: deformities, eruptions, scarring, and swelling. The after effects, a product rejected by the body, not intended for cosmetic purposes. After about 8 weeks growing in this farm, these vegetables are ready to be taken into the cafeteria, where the menu is created around the produce that is grown here at the school. According to Hidalgo police, a smuggler parked his truck over this storm drain while others moved the drug bundles through the sewage system underneath this levee. Then loaded 800 pounds of marijuana through a hole they made under the truck. Bernard has extended an invitation to President Trump to come golf with him. He believes they can both find common ground. After all, they're both businessmen who own golf resorts, and they both want border security. In Brownsville, on the Texas-Mexico border, Oscar Margain reporting. These blue bins not only contain water, but they also have valuable information such as an address, a GPS coordinates, and even a phone number so that the person that needs help can get rescued. Voting by mail is an option for those who aren't able to go to the polls, but according to Stark County District Attorney Omar Escobar, this method of casting your ballot has long been abused by a certain number of voting assistants, also known as politiqueros, who seek to favor a candidate while committing fraud. Now, 3 days after this announcement, confusion and frustration not only from undocumented parents but government officials who were captured on this audio recording from inside a federal courtroom in Brownsville, Texas during a sentencing hearing. Now, what effect has this policy had on Southwest border apprehensions? Well, it might be too early to tell. The latest numbers released today by Border Patrol show a 1.9% increase in the number of people caught crossing the border illegally compared to April. So an increase in tariffs on Mexican products basically means there's less movement for produce companies on the border and higher prices for the consumer. Now, even though the Border Patrol as a union has endorsed Donald Trump, Cabrera says it doesn't mean that all 16,000 agents believe in the candidate's plan to turn this border fence into a continuous wall. A plan that is more complicated than it sounds, as it would affect many residents here like Pamela Taylor. I've come to this theater to get a behind-the-scenes look at a very intimate show with puppets by renowned French artist Philippe Gentil. Now we're going to meet the puppeteers and hopefully find out how is it that they can transmit very complex human emotions into this art form. Now, there are some flaws with this proposal. For one, they say that the government won't need to take people's property through eminent domain. However, there is a lot of private land here that runs up to the river. I made it across to the U.S. side in less than 5 minutes with no presence or signs of any law enforcement keeping me from making it to this side. This here is the boundary marker between the United States and Mexico. And as you can see, It's wide open here. One can simply be just dropped off and walk across into the United States. So far, researchers have unearthed 1 bag of human remains currently inside this tent as they work to uncover 2 more on this burial site and 3 others on this side. They believe 8 or more could be in different parts of the cemetery. There are 325 residents here in Bayside, and it seems like no corner was left untouched by Harvey. The town is in ruin, and the people here want the outside world to know that, like Rockport, Port Aransas, Refugio, and so many other communities, they too have been devastated. So this is day 1 of the job challenge, and I'm in front of a courthouse in Payang Nar in Inner Mongolia. Today I'm going to learn about what it entails to be an assistant to a judge. 你好，我叫 Osaka. This is the first time I get to go into a courthouse in China. For the patient, this is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it is necessary to remove that silicone from her leg in order to prevent any other irreversible damage. At the same time, she could be risking other complications just by exposing herself to yet another surgery. Out of the potential 4,000 troops, 500 of them have been deployed quote-unquote immediately as of Friday. This according to the National Guard Bureau Chief. Only 250 have currently been deployed to the Texas border, and spotting them is like finding a needle in a haystack. As you can see, there's a group of undocumented immigrants, a lot of children coming this way at this moment. At the same time, just across the river, we see the smugglers taking their inflatable rafts that they just packed up so that they can go and get some more people. Just moments ago, these 4 Border Patrol units descended on the community of La Habana. We saw them apprehend what we believe are undocumented immigrants. At least 10 people are now in their custody. A border security tour isn't complete without a boat ride up and down the Rio Grande. Once Vice President Pence gets off the boat, he'll be taking to see a section of the border wall nearby. In 2016 alone, 97,000 hours were utilized to protect the U.S.-Mexico border. What Border Patrol says they need is not only more agents, but also build more of this infrastructure. That means a wall or a border fence, along with some technology like they have at the water tower right there. They say that is the perfect combination. That is the formula to secure this part of the border. The CDC says temperatures here aren't cold enough to kill the mosquito. Now mix that with the on and off rain we're experiencing and these weedy lots, and it creates the perfect environment for Zika to thrive. We have not been able to come across anyone. However, they say that just a couple of weeks ago, they found 8 people in this exact location. These families have traveled weeks to get to the U.S.-Mexico border, but it's not the end of the road for them here. There's a longer legal process that awaits them before they can call this home. Now, about 41 Central American immigrants, including children, were just dropped off here at the McAllen bus station. It's a practice that continues despite President Donald Trump's end to catch and release. We're just a few feet away from the river, and as we were walking back inland, we came across these bills on the ground. This is Chinese currency that's been dropped, presumably by a Chinese immigrant. What they're doing right now is they're calling up each one of these families so they can make this line and then start purchasing tickets to go visit their relatives elsewhere in the United States. So how can this happen under the government's watch, especially with 12,000 immigrant children in their care and all the national attention? I know it sounds ridiculous. How can somebody get away with over $1 million worth of fajita? Well, authorities here say that a juvenile detention center employee was able to cook the books for 10 years. Talk about overdone steak. We've come to the McAllen Chamber of Commerce, located about 10 miles north of Mexico. There have been meetings held here all day long between business partners and sister cities on both sides of the border. They're discussing whether or not President Donald Trump will follow through on his promises to either change or even eliminate NAFTA.
If we don't come together as a region, we're going to get taken apart.
During the next 90 days, Mexico will be working on its own trade plan for whenever negotiations begin, even considering doing trade deals with Asia. But the focus will be on the border, as the communities here rely on each other. This is one of the more popular shopping centers in town, and as you can see, most of the parking lot is full. But one indicator to know who is shopping here is by looking at license plates. Most of them are from Texas, and some of them are coming from Mexico. Now be sure that the city is going to be counting every penny and find out whether border rhetoric or the weakened peso is going to have any effect. This is reportedly Speaker Ryan's first visit to the South Texas border. Now, as you can see behind me is the Rio Grande River, which separates U.S. and Mexico. The lights that you see reflected on the water, those are coming from Mexico. This is the area the Speaker is going to be shown once he arrives later this morning. Now, this is part of an all-day tour with Border Patrol to better understand border security and the resources the agents need on the ground. Now take a look at these images that we shot yesterday. Basically, the function of the moving court, as I understand it, is each one of these red dots is like a collection point for cases. Each one of these colored areas is a different town. So villagers in these remote areas, when they have something to litigate, they have to consult with the collection office and try to resolve the case in these black-looking courthouses, which is like the lower courts. When villagers cannot attend that lower court, that is when the moving court goes to the villages to try to solve the cases for those villagers. The last time a Democrat won Texas was 1968, but talk about Texas turning purple is in part due to the strong turnout by Latinos this year. Now, out of all the 14 counties along the South Texas border, 3 of them do not hold a majority of Latinos in terms of population. Now, with the exception of Terrell and Starr counties, all of the counties along the border have registered a high number of votes during early voting, higher than in 2012. And that was especially the case with El Paso County, Webb County, Hidalgo, and Cameron County, which also happened to hold the largest number of Hispanics in terms of population along the border. Now, why are we seeing these numbers? Now, it could be because of the current rhetoric surrounding illegal immigration and the border wall, but it could also be because we're seeing a larger number of Latinos throughout the country. Senator, you didn't necessarily address the eminent domain part of my question.
Here's your mic.
I know you've consulted with the Border Patrol. Have you consulted with the people whose lands are being taken, sir? We decided to walk down to the border and confront a man Agent Romero identifies as a smuggler.
¿Usted lo hace por necesidad?
We asked him why he helps people cross illegally.
No, nada más para entender, oiga.
At first, he denies it,
¿Sí se gana una buena lana o no? ¿Sí?
but then he admits he gets paid well doing so. But if Ramiro is to conquer the Everest, he's gonna need a training partner.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Not saying that partner is me, of course.
It's nearly 100 degrees out here. We're at sea level in South Texas. How do you train in this climate for Mount Everest?
Well, I train all the time right here.
Reporting in Brownsville from the Texas-Mexico border, I'm Oscar Margain, and I'm out of breath.
Es un crimen que ocurre tanto en el sur de Texas como la frontera norte de México y la vanidad es su más íntimo cómplice. La frontera permite que defraudadores eviten la ley, mientras que las víctimas quedan atrapadas en su miedo. Buenos días desde Beijing, donde hoy comienza un nuevo año en el calendario chino y en donde la ciudad de más de 20 millones de habitantes hoy amanece vacía y relativamente paralizada.
Después de la apertura parcial de la economía, el gobierno chino corrigió la cifra oficial de muertes por coronavirus. El informe indica un aumento del 50% en el número de fallecidos en Wuhan, lo cual significa que cerca de 4,000 personas perdieron la vida, incluyendo personas que murieron en sus casas.
Para la paciente esta es una navaja de doble filo. Por una parte, es importante sacar esa silicona de su pierna para que este no cause otros daños irreversibles. Al mismo tiempo, el exponerse a la cirugía es otra oportunidad de riesgo que pudiera traer otras complicaciones. Basta con pasar la tarjeta y sin sospecharlo. Ladrones pueden robarle la información de su tarjeta de manera remota utilizando un dispositivo móvil como este iPad, conectado de manera inalámbrica a un lector de tarjetas instaladas en las bombas de gasolina. La propuesta de ley 640 del representante Terry Canales está siendo modificada para su apruebo en el Senado. Una propuesta que pudiera terminar con las licencias de conducir en forma de tarjeta y convertirlas de manera digital para ser portados en los teléfonos inteligentes. Los efectos pueden ser catastróficos: deformidades, erupciones, cicatrices, inflamaciones, efectos secundarios, rechazos del cuerpo a un producto no intencionado para fines cosméticos. No saben si ha valido la pena, sin embargo, lo intentaron para un mejor futuro para sus familias y pues bueno, no saben cuál será el futuro ahora que han sido detenidos. Entrenamiento con armas de alto calibre es lo que la policía de La Joya dice necesitar para poder contrarrestar la creciente amenaza proveniente de la frontera sur. Dejar objetos de valor como bolsos o carteras en su auto a simple vista es una invitación al robo, de acuerdo a las autoridades, aun y cuando exista la vigilancia. Tras el fatídico accidente aquella noche de noviembre, comunidades por el Valle del Sur de Texas vieron la necesidad de manejar la ley de una manera distinta y decretar una ordenanza local, prohibiendo el uso de mensajes de texto al conducir. Una de las ventajas más significantes de patrullar a caballo es poder recorrer la frontera sin hacer mucho ruido. A diferencia de una camioneta o una cuatrimoto, el agente equino se integra a su entorno, haciéndolo más difícil de detectar. A pesar de lo extenso que es el área, la colaboración de multiagencias operando las 24 horas ayuda a disminuir considerablemente la posibilidad de penetración de tráfico ilegal. El abuso que padeció Araceli durante los años en los Estados Unidos no quedaría en vano. Es cuando nace Domésticas Unidas en Texas, convirtiéndose en el rostro de la organización que representaría a tantos como ella. Bomberos dicen que este fue el calentador que causó el incendio y que en menos de 5 minutos logró consumir la propiedad en llamas. Y como Cielo Olivares, pudieran existir cientos de casos similares en el Valle del Sur de Texas, residentes quienes se aferran a las esperanzas de que líderes del estado pronto opten por buscar una alternativa de ley que los permita conducir un vehículo sin el temor de ser detenidos por su estatus legal. Estas demostraciones entre el convoy fronterizo y las organizaciones pro-inmigrantes son un ejemplo de la división que existe en el país en cuanto al tema migratorio, cada quien buscando ahogar la voz del otro. Samaniego confiesa que su conciencia lo traicionaba, pero todo cambió una noche cuando conducía su autobús de carga por los Estados Unidos bajo una lluvia torrencial. El juez dice estar a favor de la implementación de cámaras en la Corte de Apelaciones de Texas, pero argumenta que este empuje a la transparencia pudiera beneficiar a unos más que otros. Ahora, dependiendo de las circunstancias, la doctora Stern podría permitir que familiares entren al cuarto de observación. Ella dice que lo hace por respeto, dependiendo de la condición de su paciente, porque pudiera causarle algo de angustia a sus familiares. Para muchos inmigrantes como Flavio, el encontrar una torre de emergencia como esta puede ser lo que les salve la vida. En lo que va del año, la patrulla fronteriza ha dado con al menos 80 cadáveres de inmigrantes quienes han visto su sueño truncado y se espera que muchos más corran la misma suerte.